Reaching Grandmaster is no easy task, obviously, but it is doable, and I think personally that almost anyone can do it. I was a hard-stuck Platinum Diamond player, and once I decided to take on the path that I set out for myself, I managed to reach Grandmaster just within 2 years, and already within 1 year, I played with Masters with Challenger level players. So before we get to the nitty-gritty kind of things, I just want to talk a little bit about my journey. So I played since Season 4 of League of Legends when Yasuo was on the screen, and I played semi-serious, I guess, with a bad PC, you know, that would improve over time and as well as internet, and sometimes I would AFK games because I had to do stuff for my parents. But it wasn't until in Season 10, I like to call, that I got a consciousness, and I decided to start taking League seriously. So by that, I was actually starting to learn more about fundamentals, survey management, you know, stuff like that, and also champion specific, you know, things that you can learn about. My improvement, it wasn't like you know, just snap overnight improvement kind of things. I would see improvements over time, and I would see that in the embodiment of my rank. So me going from Plant to Diamond 1 to Masters, and then increasing my LP in Masters would be the embodiment of me improving. So this is the reason why I like playing League of Legends, because you can kind of track your improvement in that way. But yeah, I really love to see that improvement kind of thing. That's kind of what grinds my gears, I guess you could say. And eventually I would actually develop a kind of ranked anxiety when I get to when I was playing versus higher elos. I would see for the first time I played versus like a Challenger top laner. He was a Singed player, he's a French Singed player, and he was Challenger and he was playing on a Master account. And I was like, what the fuck, I'm playing versus this guy? Am I really, you know, on this level? Can I play versus him? Do I know how to play versus him? And, well, not much to talk about that story, obviously. I lost that game. And I didn't completely int, but obviously I did lose. Regardless, I would develop ranked anxiety in that way, but it would be better over time. You just have to get used to it. You're just playing versus master players, you know, challenger players. It just, you know, it's just something you overcome by just getting used to stuff. So it wasn't until in Season 11 that I managed to reach Diamond 1. I personally feel ashamed of being a Diamond player or a Master player. You know, in the community, in the League community, not many people think it's a good thing to be Masters, or it's, you know, it's not very highly thought of. But it wasn't until in Season 12 I would peak Masters 375 LP, I think it was, which was definitely an improvement. And, you know, I was just starting, I thought at this point I want to reach Grandmaster. That has always been the long-term goal, kinda. That's what I want to kind of reach. You know, I'm always setting like goals that is possible. Like, I don't want to be rank 1, I don't want to be a challenger player, because I don't know if I'm a challenger player yet, right? I have to get to Masters first, and then I have to grind through purple hell, as we call it nowadays, and then get into Grandmaster. And once I'm in Grandmaster, I have to get to 1000 LP. If I'm Challenger, you know, we'll see how it goes from there, you know. But in Season 12, when I got Masters 375 LP, I had a little bit of sadness in me. I felt like Grandmaster was so far away, because it's, you know, progressively for me it's getting harder to play. But I had a lot of inspiration from Zukil is a huge inspiration, and as well as Brohan. If you don't know the story of Brohan, it's very simple, or I mean, in a nutshell, it's basically a Diamond 1 player who was playing mid Yon Yasuo, and one day he started to play seriously as well, and he started to take the game seriously. And when he did that, he he reached Challenger pretty fast, actually. And he even, like, 1 year later, he would have 3 accounts with 1000 LP Challenger, and you know, that's just crazy. And like 1 year before, he was hard stuck in Diamond with like 1000 games. But yeah, it wasn't until Season 13 where I feel like top lane, the state of top lane is insanely bad, and especially if you're you know, your own player, I guess. Nevertheless, I managed to reach Grandmaster 727 LP. So how did I reach Grandmaster? What did I specifically do in order to get to that rank, or, you know, achieve that rank? I feel like there isn't a very good workflow for people. So hopefully in this video you can learn what I did. So the first thing I did was, I'm gonna be treating League differently. I'm gonna be treating League more like a school subject rather than a game I'm playing for fun. I mean, I'm also having fun while playing it, I'm enjoying it, but at the same time, I'm also gonna study it. I'm gonna treat it like a school subject, basically. Also, I feel like a lot of people are struggling with this, but I would also mental gap, I guess you could say, my opponents, or, you know, even my teammates at times. Basically, my need to win was above any tilt or any anger that I had, because I wanted to win so badly. I would just look for ways to win and, you know, adapt to the situation that I have. Kind of like the Broxa mentality, if anyone, you know, watches him.
Now that is not a strategy that I can appreciate, I'll be honest. I'll be very honest, guys, I do not approve of what I just saw on my screen. I'm very sad, I'm disappointed, I feel let down, but it's fine, guys. It's really It's really fine. Don't worry about it. I forgive you for your sins.
And by treating League as a school subject, I would be looking for educational content. I would basically learn the concepts that has been developed in League, like invading, like wave management, advanced wave management, you know, tips and tricks, or, you know, tactics or strategies when it comes to wave management, proxy, you know, how do you deal with this search situation or that situation. Like, I would just search on YouTube, and there is so much educational content out there, but sometimes you have to find good ones. Yeah, so I'm just searching around for people who are doing, you know, educational content like myself nowadays. Now, I would also, more specifically when I'm talking about educational content, I would go through fundamentals. Now, fundamentals, there's quite a few of them, or, you know, like journal tracking, for example, stuff like I mentioned. I'll probably put in a video description what I mean specifically by fundamentals. I also decided to one-trick a champion, and I see this problem a lot with people who are silver or gold, is that they're not one-tricking a champion. Now, obviously, it won't like propel you to challenger or whatever, but if you're one-tricking a champion, it's very easy for you to climb because you're just getting used to one champion so much. You also get to know how to play versus matchups. That's way easier. And some people switch, you know, a lot of champions. They play a lot of different champions, so they don't really master one champion. And some people even switch roles, which I think is absolutely crazy. I mean, there's so much to learn about each role, you know. Although wave management and, you know, fundamentals, they still apply to every role. So matchups, I would go for, you know, content creators that already is big on Yone, and obviously that was Zukil. And there's this YouTube guy named Yasuo Legends. I would go through all of his VODs and just analyze what is that guy doing, how is he winning his matchups, and how is he trading versus certain champions. And then I notice, oh, when Darius doesn't have Q, Zukil almost always goes for a trade versus him. If Darius tries to Q you, Zukil would E in towards him. I would apply stuff like this to my own gameplay, and if someone else countered it, I would change it on top of that, basically building upon the knowledge that I have gained. I also have to state, when it comes to matchups, countering or fighting against a champion can be translated to other champions. For example, if you're dealing with Jax and dealing with his E, you can learn what you have to play against, basically, even from a LeBlanc OTP who discusses the Jax matchup, assuming he teaches you correctly. Yone would use his Q3 or E's to kite a Jax E, but I imagine LeBlanc would primarily use her W or her E to kite him out. So even if you're not a Yone OTP, but you're still looking to get Grandmaster, you can learn about most top lane matchups if you look through my educational playlist in the matchup section below. Mainly it's Yone specific, but you can learn a few ways to deal with certain matchups, even if you're a Kled OTP, you know, Mundo OTP or whatever. So I had this program named Outplayed, or any program that basically just records your gameplay, and I would see all the times I die. Now, I think self-reviewing is the best part, and especially when you are reviewing your deaths, and you have to kind of like find out why you died, basically. So again, if I died to Darius, I need to see, hey, how did I die to Darius? Is there something I messed up by level 1? Like, did I get dove by an Elise? Could I do something level 1 to, you know, maybe push the wave in, and then maybe they can't dive me because, you know, the wave's under the enemy tower and not mine tower? Did I Q3 into Darius and then I missed it? And then I'm like, oh shit, maybe I should never Q3 again, or do I need to do really safe trades with Q3? Or maybe I should just use E to Q3 him, you know, with Yone. And these are the kind of things that went through my head when I was reviewing my deaths, and I think reviewing your deaths is very important, and you have the mindset to just basically review, how do I prevent this death, or how could I play this better, basically. Obviously, as a new player, or if you want to treat League as a subject, you have to apply the theory that you're learning. That can be a lot. So I had this thing where I improve on one thing per game. So if I want to improve on jungle tracking, I would improve on that, like the mo only, kinda, for 10 games straight, and it just until it becomes muscle memory, basically. And doing things like that really helps you to focus on training stuff. Yeah, you're just basically being really efficient with your training. I mean, there is even this thing I have learned about when it comes to esports, or, you know, gaming in general, or just learning, I guess, which is the difference between passive learning and intentional learning. So passive learning is you just play the game and you just learn from experience. Now, this can be anything from months to even years, and then you just start realizing, hey, maybe I should do something different here, you know? But if you're doing something intentional, you're going out to learn with a goal in mind, you're gonna learn way more faster. We're talking days to weeks, and, you know, this has been studied on, and, you know, it's been proven. So, you know, definitely go out there with the intention in mind or a goal in mind when you're playing these ranked games. Now, obviously, one of the things I have to mention is, like, your progression is gonna be gradual. It's nothing, Rome wasn't built in one day, you know, the famous quote. That's the same case for you. You're not gonna be a Grandmaster player in 24 hours. For me, personally, it took 2 years. For Brohan, I think it took like 3, 4, you know, a few months, maybe a year. I don't know exactly. But yeah, you're gonna have to see progression in a gradual way, and you just have to take it step by step and make realistic goals. Like, obviously, you don't need to get Grandmaster. You can be happy with like Diamond or Master, and you just make small goals for you. And obviously what's important is like that might be your overall goal to get this rank, but you shouldn't be playing for rank, you should be playing for improving. And when you're improving, your LP comes with the improvement. So even if you're losing 10 games, if you get something out of those games, if you'll learn something from all of those games, in the bigger picture, if you play consistently good, you will be climbing. That is the famous last words I have before I die. You also have to play League consistently if you want to take ranked serious. Of course, it depends on your goals, like getting Grandmaster requires significantly more skills than reaching Diamond, for example, and therefore getting to Diamond takes less in terms of improving, as you need less tools in your skill set, and less time in terms of amount of games required to reach the LP threshold. If you don't play consistently, you also may get rusty on mechanics or forget topics since you're out of your rhythm, like tracking enemy jungler. Now you have to take note that I'm not saying that you need to sell your soul to get Grandmaster, but you definitely need to keep in mind that you need to play a bit consistently. 1 game per day would amount to 7 games for a week, which is low. It's doable of course, but it's nowhere as efficient if you play 3 games per day. You don't have to have a schedule or be rigid in the amount of games you play, but just be conscious whether you're playing not enough. And playing too much can also be a problem in regards to your focus. It all depends on you. And there was a point I also got stuck where I would go into coaching. I think there are 2 main coaches that I really like. I haven't tried every coaches obviously, but I would personally recommend Veigar V2 and Hedon. Those are 2 very good coaches. And then if you're playing top lane specifically, I would recommend Alois 100%. I would definitely skip the other coaches and recommend Alois if you're a top laner. He was very affordable when I bought his coaching, but if I got stung, I would go to coaching to see mistakes I couldn't realize by myself. I would also go to coaches and, you know, check their sessions with other players. Like, for example, Veigar V2, he would coach other players. Can just, I mean, he probably has something on his YouTube, and I would just check him coaching a Grandmaster top laner. I'm like, what the fuck? This is Grandmaster top laner and thinking about these things? And I didn't even know about them, you know? That really helps to get an insight into how a Grandmaster player thinks and how a gold player thinks. A gold player probably doesn't even think about the game, or, you know, just plays on emotion, while a Grandmaster player or a Master player has, you know, he's planning his matchup in a few ways basically. But yeah, hopefully this is more of like an impromptu video, but hopefully these tips help you out. I genuinely believe that you can get Masters or Grandmasters if these are your goal very easily if you treat League of Legends as a subject. Start studying it, try to always win above tilt, and make sure that you're intentionally learning stuff and not doing it by passively learning them. Leave a sub if you enjoyed the video and leave a comment. I actually read those. If you didn't like the video, I thank you for watching.